May it be a light for you in dark places when all other lights go out.
Hey guys, DCHL Devin here, and welcome to another Light in the Dark video. And today is going to be a special video because I'm going to mostly be just talking about the ASBGA and Nova. So, of course, you guys can all listen to this, but this is mostly going to be for those American players who are going to be in the American Alliance that we have created. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you definitely want to stay tuned for this. And of course, Nova, which is coming up in September, or well, actually August 31st. Labor Day weekend of this year. So let's get right into the ASBGA. What exactly is that? If you guys haven't heard, the DC Hobbit League, along with 5 other groups, the South Carolina group, the Colorado group, the Chicago group, and the Boston group up in Massachusetts, have all formed together, basically an alliance. I wouldn't think of this as exactly a league, mostly because it's not necessarily a tournament circuit in the traditional sense that the GBHL do it. Essentially, what we're trying to do is unite the country. As you guys know, the Americans have a bit of a problem. 2 problems. One, we're not really all that united. Mostly because our country is 4 times or 5, 6 times the size of England and most of the European countries. So, of course, that distance makes it a bit of an issue. But we're trying to fix that. We're trying to unite America under one banner, and what we chose was the American Strategy Battle Gamer Alliance. We purposely chose the name Alliance. Once again, it's not necessarily a league. Every single group is going to be hosting one event throughout the nation. So there's going to be a total of 5 events that are hosted throughout the nation that are going to be, I guess you can call our national events. These are going to be the big ones that we all host. So this is the ones that we actually fly out to. Now, we're purposely limiting this just to 5. The reason why is because it's going to cost you guys a lot of money to start flying around everywhere. So we absolutely understand that. So this is why we don't necessarily call it a league. I can't expect you to attend really more than one of these events. Reasonably, of course, with PTO time, family, and everything else that gets in the way, attending all 5 of these would be a bit rough. But hopefully we can at least start the process of just merging all of us between each other. So obviously, with all of these events, we have basically one on the West Coast, which is hosted by the Colorado group. They host Mayhem in the Mountains, which is the league starter, I guess you can call it, or the alliance opener. And essentially, they host that in November. So that's already passed, which means that we're going to be waiting until this November and essentially, I guess, starting the next ASBGA alliance year with them. So if you're wondering what are the events for this year, well, we have the Chicago group. They're hosting the Didnt. If you guys don't know what that is, essentially it's a large convention in Chicago. This is a great event to attend, even if you just want to attend just a convention where you have vendors and shops and things to do. I think this is an awesome opportunity for you guys to just see like a nice large convention space. This is hosted on March 23rd. It is a weekend-long event, so of course that whole weekend that March 23rd is on. And they have 2 events, which is just their main tournament and a Middle-earth's Deadliest Heroes. If you guys don't know what Middle-earth's Deadliest Heroes is, it's a Nova invention, essentially. It's where you have 1,000 points of all heroes and you just go at it. You don't have any warrior models, so it's all your favorite stuff you've always wanted to play. Balrogs, Smaugs, Saurons, they all work in this one, so bring them along. And it's usually a fun type of match, but of course it can be made competitive if you wanted to. So they're hosting that March 23rd, and then you have in April, it is the Shadow in the East. Now this one already has its comp up and available. Matt Iverson is hosting that one. Just so you guys know, if you want to hear any information about the Adepticon one, Terry Young is hosting that in the Chicago group, but mostly it's a collaborative effort between him and several other members of their group who wish not to be named here. But basically, Matt Iverson is hosting the Shadow in the East for the Boston, Massachusetts in April. That is a 2-day event. Now, it's only 24 slots available on that one. Now, I intend to go to that one, bringing a lot of DCHL members, and I think I've seen a lot of traffic as far as like New York and South Carolina as well, who are also interested in attending that. It's a very good East Coast event. I think this one's going to be a great one. This one, since the comp's already available, I can tell you it's an 800-point event, 6 rounds, all the main tournament scenarios that you're, for the new Remember, not the ones out of the book, guys. Games Workshop changed its main scenarios. So if you're not aware of those, you might want to get on Warhammer World's website and download those. Of course, we'll also host the documents on DCHobbitLeague.com. So Matt Iverson is hosting this. What is it? 800 points. It's now it rewards one faction. Although Jay Clare hasn't exactly gotten around to bringing in all the one faction rules for the old Lord of the Rings profiles, Matt Iverson has already done that. His rules comp already includes essentially buffers, special rules for every single faction if you choose to not ally, for the existing ones. And of course, he didn't make up any or anything like that. He didn't make up any new factions, but he made up the new special rules. So that's something interesting, just something to play around with, so we can regard this as much more of a fun, relaxed tournament. But of course, you feel free to be competitive if you want to. He is playing the normal scenarios, so the scenarios themselves are competitive. And I think that one's going to be an awesome time. I definitely suggested attending that. And then, of course, we have South Carolina. Those guys are attending the Ringo South. I'm sorry, they have the tournament, the Ringo South, in April, no, I'm sorry, May 27th. So May 27th is their event. Their rules pack isn't up yet, but it is all the way in May. So I'll let you know when that venue starts to become available, when that rules information, they are working on that right now. And then, of course, we have the last event, which is Nova. Nova is on Labor Day weekend, as mentioned, August 31st and into September. So if you guys don't know, just look up the dates, look at novaopen.com or DC Hobbit League. Of course, we have it on there. With that one, we already have the rules pack up. So it's, of course, able to change all the way up until February, which is registration day. For the most part, it's pretty solid. It's not going to change at all. The only thing that might change is maybe the alliance restrictions, but that's about it. As of right now, we have 4 main events, which is Middle-earth's Deadliest Heroes. We have Chaos and Arda, of course, Doubles, and the GT. Now, we do not have battle companies in a narrative this year. That's because we had to make room. Make room for what? A couple seminars. So we have 2 seminars this time that for all the basically, I guess for new players and a lot of intermediate players, we have experts Dan Entwistle and Sam Jeffrey coming down to Nova, and they're going to host a seminar on tactics and list building advice. If you guys don't know, Dan Entwistle is a GBHL champion. He actually has a Twitch channel, which he regularly posts some list building and list reviews, I guess you can say. He did this for Articon, and it's fantastic to watch. Honestly, he's highly respected, and a lot of GBHL members look toward his advice. Sam Jeffrey is also a legend in the GBHL community, and he will be coming down as well. And these guys will give you some top-notch advice before the GT, and so you can change your list if you want. Remember, Nova lists don't have to be submitted until the GT date, until 30 minutes before. So you guys can change your lists around however you want based on their advice, and that should be fantastic for you guys. And of course, then we have the Future of Middle-earth seminar. Now, not going to give too many details about this one because not everything's fully confirmed. All I can confirm at this point is that we have a very special Games Workshop employee who is going to be talking about the Middle-earth franchise and how it's going to go from here as far as the game. Once again, not going to go into full details, although the comp does mention names. It's a Skype interview, so the person is not confirmed to come to Nova specifically, but simply just going to be talking on the on a feed. Of course, projector on the wall, and of course we'll have a classroom environment, and you guys will be able to ask questions for the most part. We'll work on the details of that, but that is exciting news. At least we get to hear something about where this game is going, especially since it'll be August at that point. We're going to be so close to the Lord of the Rings profiles being released, if they're not already released already. So that is pretty much the ASBGA events. That is all 5 of them. Now, what exactly do you get for all this? Well, so you guys may know that there's a lot of limited release items in Britain. It's kind of unfortunate, but we got the Witch King, Fate of the Witch King, we've got the Defenders of Helm's Deep, and we have the new Alfred model, and all these models that are coming out. Well, I will be getting a lot of those. I actually attend British events quite often. I will be attending 3 of them this year, and I will be attending the Warhammer World GT. And guess what I'll be able to pick up there? All these models that we're not able to get here in America. And I will be giving them off in raffles for those who attend the events. It will be just automatic free prizes, not for winners, it's not for anything. It's just if you attend these events, At each one of these events, I will be hosting and giving a raffle prize, these raffle prizes, and these will be those miniatures that you can't get here in the United States so easily. So the more events of these you attend, you'll be able to do that. Also, for the League Ender, which is technically Nova, and I'm calling it a League Ender because essentially, I guess you can identify this as a league, but remember, we're not like accumulating your points across all the different events. But at the Nova Open, we're going to take your top scores. So whatever your top score was, and you do not have to attend Nova to achieve this, all right? But whatever your top score was in all the events, we compare it to the top scores of the other events, and in a special formulaic way, and we'll explain that more in a document that's coming out. But we take that and then we give prizes at Nova, which can of course only be achieved by Americans who are in the ASBGA. So we have a couple admins on the ASBGA. If you want to get added to the group, just type that in, American Strategy Battle Gamer Alliance, and we will go ahead and add you if you're American. We actually prefer to keep this for an international, like everyone come in here kind of group. We have the GBHL for that. We don't need the ASBGA getting just everybody. And also the thing is, we also don't want a lot of posts. You guys who have all the other groups, you may notice that there's various peoples out there who like to advertise their channels. And that's fine. However, we're going to try to keep that off here. We want to keep American channels only on this page. So it's just strictly for Americans if we can keep it that way. Other than that, though, that is the ASBGA. I highly recommend getting in with that. If Americans, we got to keep together, because remember, we got about 4 years, and then they decide what do they want to do with this license, and we got to make it go as long as possible. And I think the more united Americans are, and I think even Nova's showing that, it starts to make it where you can get things like, we now have a Games Workshop representative talking at Nova, you know, in an American arena. We can get these things, maybe, hopefully. We've also heard Adepticon is also going to have a GW presence as well. So if you guys are interested in getting models at Adepticon, I believe, don't know, but they might have it there, the Alfred model and address. This is just rumor mill as far as I'm concerned, but that's just something. I do know Games Workshop's showing up at, like, regardless of my special guest, Games Workshop themselves is showing up at Nova and at Adepticon. So this is something, maybe they might bring some stuff. And they're coming strictly for Sigmar and 40K at this point, but who knows? Maybe Forge World will show up. I don't know. But I do know that some Games Workshop is making an attendance. So and that's pretty much it for the news on Nova and the ASBGA. If you guys have any questions about that, of course, comment on my channel, contact us on the ASBGA channel. We'll, of course, answer all questions and everything like that. And as far as the list reviews of the new source book, we are going to get to it. Me and Jake now live very far apart. As you can see, I have my Steins background again. This is probably where you see me film for a period of time until I can work out a new place to film. Until then, I'll see you guys very soon.